and welcome to episode 14 of the Knitty Heather podcast. My name is Heather and I'm coming to you from Kent, Washington, where I live with my husband and our Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, Pepper. This is my podcast where I chat all about my knitting and everything I'm working on and everything I learn along the way. If you are a new viewer, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. That really means a lot. It's been so nice to get such wonderful support with this podcast and meet so many wonderful people. If you would like to follow me, I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram. I always love making connections with people there and seeing what everyone is working on. Anything I talk about as far as yarn and patterns and accessories will be linked in the description box below. Today is Thursday, February 4th, and I have a lot to tell you about, so let's get started. Today I am wearing my reversible listado by Laura Nelkin. It's a very open and lacy infinity loop. Very comfortable, very warm. I made it out of Alpaca Jack's Surrey yarn. This was some yarn that I got from my granny's stash. This color is called Dark Fawn. This color is called Light Fawn, kind of this medium tannish brown, and white. And I'm pretty sure these must be the natural colors of the alpacas themselves. I don't know too much about this brand of yarn, but it seems like this was pretty natural alpaca. I haven't worked very much with alpaca, but it's so soft and warm and very comfortable. I wanted to use all three of these colors together, and I thought kind of doing a fade like the pattern calls for was a good idea. So I did 7 pattern repeats in each color going from light to dark. This was the reversible listado by Laura Nelkin, knit up in Alpaca Jack's Surrey. Today I am also wearing my Oregon Trail socks by Monet Draugr. This was from a Yarn Box sock kit a number of years ago. The yarn I used for these was Flying Goat Farms Corriedale sock in the colorway Wine and Chocolate. I knit these in 2019 on 9-inch circulars. It's a very unique zigzag design which represents the path of the Oregon Trail. It is knit from the top down with a rolled cuff, integrated heel flap and gusset, and a wedge toe. Next, I'd like to tell you about a little bit of happy mail I received recently. This is from Nancy of Trilogy Yarns. She's out of Spokane. Really wonderful lady. I actually got to meet her over a year ago now at a local yarn shop when she was doing a trunk show. And she has a podcast that she does with her friend Kathleen called On the Needles. They are very talented, very knowledgeable, and just very sweet ladies. So I encourage you to check out her podcast, On the Needles. So her company again is called Trilogy Yarns. And I got 2 hanks of her superwash worsted. This colorway is called Unicorn Farts. She has very creative, very funny names for a lot of her colorways. Very nice pink with some reds and yellows and kind of rusty colors. Very highly speckled. It should knit up beautifully. And this is called Oil Slick. Kind of some cooler tones in this one with some greens and blues and purples. My plan for these is to make some more sleeping socks. I know I've mentioned a couple times that I really need to add to my sleeping sock wardrobe to wear at night, and I am going to do that with these. The pattern I like to use for my sleeping socks is called Learn to Knit Socks by Stacey Perry. It's a very good worsted sock pattern with a heel flap and gusset, but I am going to try to figure out how to do like a fish lips kiss heel or even an afterthought heel with the stitch count for a worsted weight pair of socks, just to give a little variety. I've got 1 pair on the needles I'll tell you about in a few minutes. But here is what I got from Nancy of Trilogy Yarns. Please check out her shop. She is absolutely lovely. Now on to my finished objects. I have 4 pairs of socks and a little shawl to share with you today. First up are my January Desert Vista Dyeworks socks. Here they are. This colorway is called Zombody Loves You, EWE. Very pretty pink, very bright pink and red stripes with some of her purple and green zombie colors. I did these toe up with the wedge shaped toe. I did knit them 2 at a time. I knit up the foot and the leg. I did about 15 rounds of a 2x2 rib and then went back to knit the afterthought heel. I really love doing an afterthought heel with this type of self-striping yarn just because you can kind of get this target effect with the stripes in the heel. I marked for my afterthought heel in the middle of this red stripe, and then I picked up the yarn with the red stripe once I was ready to knit the heel. So I went back and I found the red in the yarn again to start knitting the heel after I had picked up my afterthought heel stitches. These should be perfect to wear this month for Valentine's Day. I'm happy to have them as part of my sock collection, and they just make me very happy. Again, this is Zombody Loves You by Desert Vista Dyeworks. Next, I have my pair from the Cozy Knitters Yarn of the Month Club. This is called Hope. Another very pretty self-striping pair. Lots of different colors. And this was the first time she sent this dark gray mini that did not match with any of the other stripes in the main color. So that was kind of cool to have it really contrasting. Normally her minis match up with one of the colors of the stripes in the main yarn, but this time it was completely different and I think it looks really good. So for my Cozy Knitter socks, I usually like to do them 2 at a time, toe up. I start with my wedge-shaped toe, work up the foot. I like doing a fish lips kiss heel with these, and I continue on up the leg, and I did about 12 rounds of a 2x2 rib on these. I can't wait to start wearing these, and I really loved the name that she chose for this colorway, Hope. I think that's a perfect one to start out the year for 2021. Again, this is Hope by the Cozy Knitter. Now I would like to share my Yarnable socks by Hypnotic Yarn out of her monthly Yarnable subscription box. This colorway is called Wintry Mix. Really pretty kind of aqua blue with some green and blue variegation, some very subtle yellow and red speckles. I really love how this yarn knit up. The pattern I used is just a plain vanilla sock. It's called the Go Your Own Way sock by Stacy Winklepleck. I did it top down, but she does give you instructions to do it toe up as well. I chose to do these top down. I did 20 rounds of a 2x2 rib. Knit quite a bit down the leg. She has you do a slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset. And then I did a rounded toe. I really think that the variegation just evened out so beautifully. It knit up very, very nicely. A very perfect wintry color to add to my sock wardrobe. This is on her plush sock 8515 superwash merino nylon base, and it is so soft and comfortable. I absolutely love her yarn. Again, this is Wintry Mix by Hypnotic Yarn from her January Yarnable box. Last up is another Valentine themed pair of socks. This is from Mustache Yarn. This colorway is called Be Mine, and it's different size stripes as you can see. The contrasting color I used for the cuffs, heels, and toes is called Conversation Hearts. This came in a 50-gram half skein, and it was an option to purchase with the main yarn, and I thought it kind of made it really fun. I did these 2 at a time, toe up. I used a rounded toe that you find in Mina Phillip, the Knitting Expats patterns, that just kind of was a little bit different, and I like it. I went knit up the foot and the leg. I did 15 rounds of a 2x2 rib for the cuff, and then went back to pick up the stitches for the afterthought heel using the contrast mini. I really think these turned out very nicely. I think they're so bright and cheerful, and I can't wait to wear them this month to celebrate Valentine's Day. Again, this is called Be Mine by Mustache Yarn using the contrasting color Conversation Hearts. My last finished object to tell you about today is my Be Simple Shawl by Carolyn Glaw's Tawdrink. Now I looked at my Ravelry page for this project and I started it in April of 2019. So it was definitely time that I got this off the needles. It's a very pretty lacy shawl with lots of eyelets. Kind of a little bit of a crescent shape construction. I think it knit up very beautifully. I'm very happy with the yarn I used. It was Arancania Huasco sock in the colorway Toko Toucan. And again, I think it will just go with lots of different things. I have a lot of blue tops and just a lot of like gray and cream tops too that I think this would look very nice with. I'm very happy to have it off the needles and be able to start wearing it. I am trying to decide if I want to block it. It's okay how it is now, but I might want to block it to open up the eyelets a little bit more. If you'd like any tips on blocking, I do have a video called Adventures in Blocking if you'd like to check that out. But here it is one last time. I would definitely recommend this pattern for that one really pretty skein of yarn that you don't know what to do with. I do believe it calls for fingering weight, but you could very easily do it with sport, DK, or even worsted weight if you wanted. You could make it even lacier by going up a few needle sizes. And it's one of those great patterns that you can just knit up as long as your yarn will let you just keep working until you run out of yarn. This was the Be Simple Shawl by Carolyn Glaw's Tawdrink. Now on to my works in progress. The first one I'd like to share with you is my February Desert Vista Dye Works socks. I am participating in her 7th annual monthly sock club where you knit a pair of socks out of one of her skeins of yarn every month. This is for February. The colorway is called Happy Birthday Dr. Seuss, so it's kind of got some of those classic Dr. Seuss colors. I'm using this yellow mini from her March mini set last year. I used it for the toes and I will use it for the afterthought heel and the cuff as well. Here's what it looks like. So there's going to be a little bit of red and yellow, some dark blue coming up next. I really love the colors in this yarn and it truly does remind me of Dr. Seuss. My preschool is on track to open up again right at the beginning of March, just in time for Dr. Seuss's birthday, so I can't wait to have these off the needles to be able to wear at school. So as you can see, I don't have a whole lot done yet. I'm still working up the foot. I will continue working all the way up, mark for my afterthought heel, and then go back and knit that after I've finished with the cuff. This pizza Progress Keeper is from Suker Miniatures, and I have my Desert Vista Dye Works socks in this cute sock monkey bag from MLD Threads on Etsy. One more look. I just finished this black color and then soon it will go into this blue stripe, this dark blue stripe. This was Happy Birthday Dr. Seuss by Desert Vista Dye Works. Next are my socks from the Cozy Knitter. This colorway is called Love is in the Air. I have it in my B project bag from MLD Threads on Etsy. I'm using an ice cream cone Progress Keeper, also from Suker Miniatures. And then this little love charm is from, I think, Row 1, her Carnival of Color Club from last year. I am actually using a pattern this time for my Cozy Knitter socks. Normally I just do vanilla, but I thought this time with this colorway and with it being February in time for Valentine's Day, I thought I would use the pattern Be My Valentine Socks by Christina, the Cozy Knitter herself. As you can see, there's some X's and O's going up either side of the socks. There it is on the other side. So I am working these 2 at a time, and I'm using little tiny stitch markers to be able to mark where I need to do the cabling. There's some really pretty X and O cabling. You do need a cable needle, but it's a super fun pattern, very cute, and a perfect little subtle pattern for self-striping yarn. I think it's going to work really nicely, especially with this colorway. Again, this is called Love is in the Air. Here's what it looks like in the cake. And then she included this pretty peachy pink mini, which I used for the toes. And I will use a Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I will also use this mini for the cuff as well. These are the Be My Valentine socks by the Cozy Knitter, knit up in her latest Yarn of the Month colorway called Love is in the Air. Next is another pair of Valentine socks. This colorway is called Conversation Hearts by Legacy Fiber Arts. Here is my cuff so far. I guess I should hold it this way. I'm using my Ruby Slippers Progress Keeper from Bump on a Hill. And I also have it in my Wizard of Oz bag from Donna's Design Shop on Etsy. Here's what the mini looks like. This was a sock set that I purchased from them last February. Very pretty purple tonal. I am ready to start the leg. I have 15 rounds of cuff. And then here's what the main color looks like. Again, this is called Conversation Hearts, and it's a very pretty pink wash with different speckles of all the different colors of the favorite little Conversation Heart candies. So I'm excited to start working the leg in the main color later today. I did a 1x1 rib for the cuff, and I'm going to do a slip stitch heel flap and gusset. I'll follow the instructions from Stacy Winklepleck in her Go Your Own Way socks again. But I think this is very cute for Valentine's Day as well. I don't think I'll have these done by Valentine's Day, but I'll have them done hopefully this month to wear next year for Valentine's Day. Again, this was Conversation Hearts by Legacy Fiber Arts. Next up is a pair of sleeping socks I started. This is from Amber's Yarn Shop, and this colorway is called Gingham. Here's what it looks like in the cake. I have it in this cute sheep project bag from April 9 Designs, and then I'm using this sheep stitch marker that I got from Bump on a Hill as a zipper pull. I thought it matched perfectly with this bag. Here is her tag. This is Amber's Yarn Shop on Etsy. And I did 12 rounds of a 2x2 rib, and I think I've done about 10 rounds of plain knitting for the leg. I think I'll do probably 35 or 40 rounds for the leg before I do the slip stitch heel flap and gusset. The pattern I'm using is the Learn to Knit Socks by Stacey Perry. It's the perfect first sock pattern if you want to just learn to knit a sock. It's with worsted weight yarn, and so there are fewer stitches, so you can get it done a little quicker. But I think these are going to be very cozy. This yarn is very soft and squishy. It's her worsted base. 100% superwash merino worsted. And I'm using my Knitter's Pride Dreams double point needles. I like using double pointed needles for this pattern. And this pretty cupcake stitch marker is from Simply Serving on Etsy. So I'll keep working down the leg for this and hopefully have this pair of sleeping socks done very soon. Again, this was Gingham by Amber's Yarn Shop. Next, I'd like to tell you about a little knit along I kind of imposed on myself. This is for the Rainbow Connection socks. This is a pattern by Kay Litton, who is the Crazy Sock Lady, using Desert Vista Dye Works special sock sets that she created for each season. This is a very fun pattern, and it looks best with a self-striping yarn and a solid yarn. So what Susan of Desert Vista Dye Works did was she came up with seasonal sets of 2 50-gram half skeins. Here's actually the autumn rainbow. As you can see, there's different tones of rainbow colors with a solid. Here is her spring rainbow colorway. And my favorite here is her summer colorway. And here's what I have for her winter colorway. Here's what they look like in the cake. So this one had like a gray solid. And then here are the pretty winter rainbow tones. It's a cuff down pattern. I did 16 rounds of a 2x2 rib. And as you can see, it's kind of a really fun slip stitch pattern. You only work it on the front. It's just plain stockinette in the back. And as you can see, the stripes are kind of emerging. She has you do the cuff in the solid color, but once you incorporate the self-striping yarn, you can just keep carrying each yarn. So you don't need to cut the yarn or anything like that. You can just keep carrying it. I will eventually do a slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset in the gray color, I think is what the pattern calls for. But I'll do a few more repeats down the leg. I'll make the leg quite a bit longer. I'll try to knit through the rainbow a couple times down the leg. This pretty cupcake progress keeper is from Bluebird Miniatures on Etsy. And so my plan is to knit one pair of these socks every quarter. I'm working on the winter ones now, and hopefully I'll have these done to be able to start the spring set on April 1st. And I'll just kind of give myself 3 months to casually knit these up, and then I'll have a nice set of the Rainbow Connection socks for every season. I have it in my Knitting Chickens bag from Bags by Awesome Granny. And I'm using this Chicken and Waffles Progress Keeper that I got from Simply Serving as a zipper pull, just because, I mean, they match so perfectly, so why not? This is the Rainbow Connection sock by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady, and I am using Desert Vista Dye Works. This time I'm using her winter rainbow colorway. My last work in progress I'd like to show you is my Noah Shawl by Devin Ventry of Knitty McPurley. I am using my Sparkle Advents from Clark & L on this. It started down here. And it's creating such a cool shape with different beautiful colors, different textures. So right now I'm using this pretty purple color for kind of a slip stitch texture. I just did a section with some stripes, a section with a fade. This one had some baubles. And this one had some lace. So I have a few more colors to add. I will end up using all 25 colors from her Advent set. This was a pattern specifically designed with these minis in mind, and I'm absolutely loving how it is knitting up. We are increasing on one side and decreasing on the other, so it's kind of going to end up a little bit of an asymmetrical shape. Right now I've got the same amount of stitches on the needles that will be for the rest of the pattern, but it's just going to kind of start angling a little bit with increases and decreases, which I think is going to make it really cool to wrap around your neck, and it'll just look really nice. So I'm excited to continue working on this. Give you one last look at all these beautiful colors. I don't know how well the sparkle is showing, but it is her Stellina base. This progress keeper I have is a little angel from Pitter Patter Polymer. Very sweet. Again, this was the Noah Shawl by Devin Ventry, who is Knitty McPurley, using Clark & L's 2020 Christmas Advent Minis. Well, I think that's about it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I am going to try to make weekly podcasts from here on out. I can't promise that I will have one every week, but I'm trying to get on a schedule where I'm filming on Thursdays and then I'll have a podcast up Monday morning. So look for podcasts hopefully fairly consistently on Monday mornings from here on out. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you supporting my channel. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Please let me know if you have any feedback for me on this podcast or any ideas you have for future scrap episodes. You can leave a comment down below or message me on Instagram. I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram, and I would love to hear from you. I just surpassed 600 followers on Instagram, so I will be doing a giveaway next week on Instagram. Keep an eye out for that. But until next time, be well, be kind, and happy knitting. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.